Hello, hello. This is your host, Sheraz Ahmed, ready to kick off another bite-sized episode of the Crypto Valley Association podcast. Now, let's discover together the growing trends of this fast-moving space and try to shed some light on the mysteries it contains. Today, we are joined by Dr. Karin Lorez, co-founder of Scale Compliance and co-chair of the CVA's very own regulatory working group. So let's dive straight into the hidden world of crypto law. It's a pleasure to have you join us, Karin. How are you doing today?
Hi, Sheraz. Thank you so much for inviting me. I'm doing well. Currently, I'm in Dubai, exploring the crypto space here. And it's quite an interesting week because it's a DeFi conference going on here. So I'll tell you later a bit about it.
Awesome. Thank you. Yeah, I'm really looking forward to it. And maybe we can get the ball rolling by you sharing with us your first blockchain-related experience.
Sure. Yeah. I'm actually a traditional banking and financial markets lawyer. And Bitcoin caught my attention in 2014, I think. So as I said, my background is financial market law with a strong focus on regulation. And I was interested in financial products, in monetary regulation as well. After the financial crisis, regulatory and regulations were quite big. So this was really my specialization and focus. And I saw something new in the market, which was Bitcoin. And I didn't know what Bitcoin was. Was it a financial product or a currency, a digital currency? What was it? What is it? So I started going to meetups in Zurich. And I was also reading a lot about Bitcoin, but that was more in my private time, right? It wasn't related to my work as such. And then in January 2017, I changed my job and joined the legal team of Falcon Private Bank. Arthur Vailoyan, today's Bitcoin Swiss CEO, joined Falcon Private Bank around the same time. And shortly after I started, Arthur came to my office and asked, "What do you think of Bitcoin, Karin?" And then I told him that I knew a lot about Bitcoin, that I was a big fan, and so on. And then he said, "What do you think if we offered Bitcoin to our clients?" And I said, "Yes, this is great." I was really super happy about his plans. And then he said, "I'm in." Then he said, "Okay." He was a bit surprised. And he said, "Are you really in the legal team?" Yeah, and that's how it started. As you know, Falcon was the first bank who offered Bitcoin and other cryptocurrencies to its clients.
Okay, well, it's wonderful to hear. And I can't wait to hear more about your experiences there. But maybe before we do that, you can tell us a little bit about your current involvement within the space. As co-founded your own company, Scale Compliance, and you also have LorezLegal.
Yes, correct. So after Falcon Private Bank, I joined MME. There I consulted startups and banks, basically. After 9 or 10 months, I decided to become self-employed as a legal advisor. My company's name is LorezLegal, so it's my last name. So now I just mainly consult crypto, blockchain, and fintech clients, which is quite interesting. And this was already 2 years ago, February 2019, actually.
Okay.
And last year, I founded, together with my business partner, Mark Berger, a compliance company called Scale Compliance, which is specialized in crypto compliance. Yeah, that's what I do. Yeah, what has kept me more or less in this space is the high demand and support that is needed, right? And
Okay, wow, wonderful. That's wonderful to hear. And I mean, you mentioned quite a few larger firms like PwC, Falcon Private Bank, MME, I mean, even UBS, if I'm not mistaken. And maybe you can tell us a little bit more about your experience there and their openness to crypto-related topics.
Yes. So, I worked for a lot of banks, private banks, but also UBS. I started my career at UBS in the middle of the financial crisis, was involved in regulatory projects there as well. Then later, I also joined PwC, the legal regulatory team, which was quite interesting as well, really in the aftermath of the financial crisis. And I'm still very interested in regulatory aspects and regulations. And that keeps me very busy.
Yeah, I can only imagine. And you said that you're currently now in Dubai, and there is like a DeFi conference going on, and you mentioned you're quite interested within this new growing space. What are your thoughts about decentralized finance?
Yeah, it's a good and interesting question. So, I mean, from a regulatory perspective, DeFi is probably a bit difficult, right? I have my regulatory hat on, but I find DeFi very interesting because it brings the whole space one step forward or one level up. And of course, it's not regulated. We don't have specific DeFi regulations, but I think it's needed to kind of, as I said, bring the whole space a level up, and to also reinvent maybe the space, bring in new ideas. And I like that a lot because I think I like innovation. So that's why I like it so much. And you can bring in innovation, and then you can just check whether it's compatible with the regulatory field or area or not. And if not, the regulator still has the chance to step in or to regulate something. But I really like innovation. So I'm more, although I have a regulatory background, I like innovation that disrupts certain systems.
Okay, and so how do you see this fight between, I mean, you worked at a lot of traditional players and this kind of real traditional side, and now you're discussing the decentralized finance, which is kind of the opposite to it, the disintermediation of this space. I mean, how do you see, is there kind of a war that is going to happen between the two? Like, where do you see these two colliding or clashing?
Yeah, I think, I mean, they're actually two different worlds. So you have the traditional financial market, the traditional banks as well. And then on the other side, you have all these interesting projects, DeFi projects going on. But I think there's more and more interest from institutions, asset managers, and banks. I think the interest is even bigger in DeFi projects than Bitcoin or cryptocurrencies. I think they're more interested in DeFi projects, to be honest. That's at least what I've seen so far. And I mean, currently they're really two separate worlds. A lot of traditional financial institutions have no clue. They don't understand the whole space at all. It's also lack of education. So that's why I think it's very important that we also, like as a Crypto Valley Association, educate people, not only the space, but also people in the financial system, in the financial markets. And seminars or conferences are super important, but also publications or podcasts such as you do. It's very important to educate people.
Yeah, education is number one. We'll definitely talk more about the CVA and your involvement there, but maybe following further into the rabbit hole that is DeFi. I mean, we had someone on the show a few weeks ago that said Bitcoin was the first DeFi project and application. I mean, do you see any particular applications that are kind of catching your eye at the moment within the space?
Well, I try to keep pace with it, to be honest. But I think it's really a full-time job to monitor all the DeFi projects, and I just don't have the time to keep up pace with it, with the projects. But I really like the projects that combine traditional financial ideas of the financial system with the DeFi space, such as loans, which I really like, and just see like where you can go and what you can do, and also include new so-called market participants, right? Or just like people that usually don't have access to these markets. I find, projects like that really, really interesting. But like particular projects, I mean, there are a lot of projects, and I also invested in some of the projects. But it's really hard to tell. I mean, a lot of them are either working super successfully, or they just die basically, and it's hard to tell which one are really good or really interesting. So that's why I just say it in general. I like the ones that somehow use the old ideas of the system, financial system, and just reinvent it somehow or change it.
Yeah, I see. It's a little bit survival of the fittest
Definitely.
in this space. And so from what I'm hearing from you, you're not kind of one of those anarchists that's like, okay, it's only the decentralized space that is going to work in the future. You really see that the kind of the traditional space and this kind of newer world can kind of merge together, and there are the advantages of both that can come together, or is it going to be totally the opposite and only one will come out in the winning spot?
I think both will exist, and I think it is important that both exist, the traditional world and also the DeFi world or whatever world. My wish is that there is room for like groundbreaking projects, and that also the regulator facilitates it, or because my fear is that at some point the regulator will just shut down like DeFi projects or whatever, or just the people behind the projects. But this is really one of my my fear. But also, my wish would be that banks are supportive, are more supportive. I mean, I'm a traditional banking lawyer, and I'm saying that banks should be more open-minded as well, and also very supporting when it comes to blockchain, DeFi, or the whole crypto space as such. But I have to say, I would also like to see more projects, DeFi projects or crypto projects with more meat on the bone, and not just like replicate another project that was successful or clone projects. This is something I would like to see because currently I just see a lot of like clones or like a lot of projects, but just copy pasting basically other projects. So that the whole space, as I said, goes one level up. But I think we need support from like the traditional world as well and the regulator as well.
Okay, Anna. I think from that point we can transition to the regulation side, and we mentioned a little bit earlier about that. The Swiss DLT framework is being partially implemented now. So what do you think about Switzerland as a whole? I mean, Switzerland has been trying its best to kind of be a leading jurisdiction and force within the blockchain technology world. How do you see them adapting to this, and what do you think about this new law that is being put in place?
Well, I mean, currently what I see is that we have more and more token projects in the space, and also I get a lot of requests from startups that want to issue a token, an asset token or a security token. Most of them are actually asset tokens. And I also think that it's a very important step for Switzerland that we have this Swiss DLT framework now that has partially entered into force that allows to issue and also trade securities token, which is very important for the whole space, not only for Switzerland. But I'm very happy and very proud, of course, that Switzerland is again one of the first jurisdictions enabling interesting projects again, enabling securities tokens to be traded as well. And I'm also curious to see, to be honest, what happens when the first DLT trading facility is established or gets the license by FINMA in Switzerland. This would then allow companies to trade with securities token, or not only companies, but also you and me, so private persons as well. And this is really interesting. And I'm curious to see what happens also on an international level as soon as we have the first trading facility.
Okay. Wow. Great. I guess only time will tell from that perspective. And I know that you're doing your best within the Crypto Valley Association regulatory working group to educate on these perspectives and to really bring the community together. Would you like to mention to our audience a little bit about the regulatory working group and what you're doing within that?
Yes, so I'm lucky to have a great group of people. Together with Gabrielle, I'm the co-chair of the regulatory working group, and we basically monitor the regulatory environment, the blockchain crypto environment. And Gabrielle and we just started working together as a co-chair, and we plan to publish on a regular basis one-pagers with useful information on the regulatory field, like what's
Great.
going on in the regulatory field, and also give our opinion on particular topics and particular points as well. And we have a really good group of people, like very experienced people, very experienced lawyers as well, very motivated as well. Last year, we published a couple of papers. This year will be another one or two already that we published. And it's very nice to see that people are so motivated and are eager also to exchange knowledge and information, which is great, really great. It's so valuable. And I think it's so valuable for the CVA as well to have a good group of people, of lawyers who understand the regulatory field. I think a lot of startups, but not only startups, also bigger, more established companies can profit from them.
Yeah, I definitely agree. And the regulatory working group is one of the most active within the Crypto Valley Association. So definitely see a wide amount of interest within this group. And so I'm really looking forward to seeing some of those papers and these one pages that sound quite informative as well. So wonderful. And maybe as we slowly approach the end of the episode, can tell us a little bit more on where you believe regulation will develop in the crypto space in the future.
Oh, that's a very difficult question, but it's a good question. I think the regulator, the financial regulator on an international level, so not only a FINMA, is always one step behind, of course. And which isn't bad. I mean, that's just how it is, because we have very creative people in the crypto space, in the blockchain space. They develop new projects. They come up with new great ideas, and then they just throw the ideas on the market. And then suddenly there is a trend, for example, DeFi or whatever. And the regulator first just observes the market and then steps in if needed, right? The Swiss regulator is, I think, very good. You can also talk to FINMA. They're very approachable. They're also very supportive. But there are like other regulators that are less supportive, which is sad, like in other jurisdictions. So they're not really enabling crypto blockchain projects, whereas the Swiss regulator, I would say, is really enabling and supportive with crypto projects. But it's, to be honest, I mean, I can't really answer your question. It's hard to tell. I hope the regulation won't be too strict. Of course, I like things to be regulated, but also to have like room and space for innovation. And as I said before, for groundbreaking projects, right?
Okay, that's great to hear, and yeah, it's great to hear a positive spin on things. And maybe you can give us the vision for the future of the whole industry, meaning not only the regulatory standpoint, but blockchain technology itself.
Well, I mean, maybe, we'll just talk about my vision or what I think that is important. So as I said before, I would really like to see more projects with meat on the bone. Sometimes I see a lot of projects, but there is little or nothing behind it. And so no replications, no clones. Of course, you can replicate an idea, but just think a bit further and change it a bit more than just cloning it. And also I hope to see more like knowledge transfer. This is something that we try to do in the regulatory working group. And I just became also the head or chair of the startup working group. And I hope to see more knowledge transfer, as I said, but also education and also brilliant minds in the space. This is really needed. And I think it should less be about making money in the crypto or blockchain space, as you said, but rather it should bring the financial system to a next level and create useful projects that have an impact in our daily lives. So this is actually my vision.
Great. It's very interesting. Thank you, Karin, for that. And well, do you have And any final words you'd like to share with our audience? You mentioned the importance of education, and I know that you brought out the Swiss Crypto Guide. And anything you'd like to share?
Yes, sure. So I would highly recommend to go and check out the Swiss Crypto Guide. So it's swisscryptoguide.com. There you can find useful information about the regulatory landscape in Switzerland. You can just click through the guide and you will get a lot of free information on regulatory topics. And of course, if you have further questions, you can always contact me. It's Karin at LorezLegal.com. And I'm happy to also hear from you or get feedback on the Swiss Crypto Guide.
Awesome. Great. Well, thank you, Karin. And if you enjoyed this conversation, feel free to check out more on our website, cryptovalley.swiss, where we host plenty of events, educational content, and even provide information on how you can join our growing community. So thank you once again, Karin, for joining us.
Thank you so much for the invitation, Sheraz. Have a good day.
It's a pleasure. Thank you. So stay tuned, stay safe, and until next time from the Crypto Valley in Switzerland. Bye-bye.